Hello, I'm Rupert Turton, and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview, where we talk to local business owners about their journey. Today, I'm joined by Greg Dufeu, who's the Managing Director at Dufeu IT Solutions Ltd. So Greg, welcome.
Thank you very much, and thanks for good job on the pronunciation as well.
Thank you. I'm
That's
terrified
perfect.
now. Let's see if we can get through the whole interview without me getting it wrong.
Yeah.
So, Greg, so first of all, just tell us what Dufeu IT Solutions do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so we are an outsourced managed IT services provider. So, in layman's terms, that means we offer an IT help desk,
Hmm.
uh, project management, cybersecurity, consultancy services, VoIP telecom services, everything wrapped around technology, and we aim to offer that to small and medium-sized businesses across the UK.
Cool. Yeah, okay. And I suppose the first question has to be, what are the biggest challenges running an IT business, IT services business at the moment?
Oh, goodness me. Okay, so I suppose the biggest challenge is the fact that it never stays still.
Mm.
So it's constantly evolving daily. The new threats, for example, new technology, and it's difficult to keep up, even with a fairly large team. You need to keep your staff up to date, keep trained, keep them developed, keep them understanding technologies. If we get, if we acquire a new customer, there's potential there that they have systems that we may not have come across before, third party line of business applications. So it's really training and development is probably one of the most difficult parts of it.
Okay. And so what's your biggest learning as a business owner over the time you've been running the business?
Probably it's more a life lesson as well, in all honesty. So,
Yeah.
and it's nothing certain. So we've had days where we may walk into the biggest disaster we've seen, or at least we think it is, and we're managing it throughout the day, and you think, oh, this can't get any worse, and in the end, everything's absolutely fine. Everything works out. We resolve all the issues if it is an issue, and it all works out. And in the same respect, you may, and this could be, I suppose, this is just business in general. You you know, as an example, may be in a sales situation, and you may think, yeah, this is over the line, and then it's not. You find out a couple of weeks later it's not. So never rest on your laurels, I suppose, is the learning, I would say.
And it's also quite interesting you're saying about the problems seem like a massive disaster and they're not, but presumably that's got a lot to do with your team and the people that work for you.
Yeah, for sure. On the technical side, the IT side, for sure. Yeah, just their experience and how they've been trained. But not only the technical side, I'm referring to, it's just the general day-to-day business stuff. Maybe there's a finance issue, or maybe there's a operations problem that something's just cropped up, and we're just firefighting. And yeah, it's never. I always like to think, what if it all turns out okay? If
Yeah.
you're in the worst situation, you feel like everything's, the world's crumbling around you. What if it turns out okay? It just gives you like a positive outlook. Yeah, and
Yeah.
generally 9 times out of 10 it does. So,
Yeah. Something positive to aim for, despite the pain
exactly.
you're probably going to go through
Yeah,
to get there in the
that's right.
first place.
Correct.
That's
Yeah,
quite interesting. It's quite relevant as well, because I noticed doing some research on you before the interview that you're very keen on your sports.
I am. Yes. Yeah.
And I saw you climbed a couple of alpine peaks, including Mont Blanc and the Matterhorn as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I did. Yeah. Yeah. So that's become a passion of mine. So back in 20, I mean, I've always been outdoorsy, and I've always been active.
yeah,
But back in 2020, or pandemic, and I think that kind of kicked me up the backside to do something, not only active, but something I would be proud of. And I have a customer of mine, actually. Unfortunately, his daughter took her own life back in, I think it was 2018,
yeah.
and since started a charity in her memory,
Hmm.
um, a local charity, and I wanted to do something to raise awareness for that.
Yeah.
So the climbing the Mont Blanc was part of doing what was that. That was the first kind of wasn't the first thing that came to mind, but it was something significant enough I could be really proud of myself, and as well as raise some money for the charity.
Yeah.
And then I got a bug. I really did got a bug. So from the top of, so we went to the Gran Paradiso in Italy, which is Italy's highest mountain.
Yeah.
To acclimatise for the Mont Blanc. From the top of the Mont Blanc, I caught a glimpse of the Matterhorn.
Yeah.
And then I was researching, what does it take to climb the Matterhorn? So I went off, I kept my fitness up, continued climbing, continued hiking and trekking, things like that for the next 12 months.
Yeah.
And then I went in 2022 and climbed the Matterhorn. And then my goal for 2023 was to climb the Eiger.
Oh, right.
And I went to Switzerland in July.
Yeah.
And we went to climb the Eiger, but unfortunately the weather wasn't on our side. So it snowed constantly. We were going to climb it via the Mittelegi Ridge, it's called. But there was a lot of rockfall, so we couldn't climb the Mittelegi Ridge. So we tried from the South Ridge, and there was just a lot of snowfall. So what would have been a 15, 16-hour climb would have turned into like a 23, 24-hour climb.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have the time window, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But whilst we were up there, whilst we were staying in the refuge hut on the mountain, we were able to go and climb two other peaks, which are next to the Eiger, so the Monk and the Jungfrau. Okay. And they were both really challenging. The Jungfrau, extremely challenging, to be fair. So, and I think I'm glad in a way that happened, because I wouldn't, had I climbed the Eiger, I wouldn't have gone back to climb the other two. So now I can still go back and climb the Eiger.
Yeah. And
I've actually got a bit of a bug now for, well, I've been looking at some north faces. So, and the Eiger north face is probably one of the most lucrative, that you could do, one of the most famous that you could do. So maybe that is a long-term goal. We'll see. Yeah.
I was going to say, are you going to go back and do it again? I think you've answered that question as well.
Yeah, for certain. Yeah.
So which is interesting then. So, I mean, everything that it takes to be, and obviously the sports you're doing are very challenging. A lot of you need a very clear vision as to what you're looking to achieve and how you're going to do it. Are you finding that translates into the business world as well?
Yeah, definitely. Planning, being focused, setting goals, being disciplined. It does, completely translates 100%. You're not always going to see the results of what you're doing immediately, and I think sometimes people think you will. Even if you're into fitness, or you go to the gym, a lot of people expect to see results within 3 months or something like that, and really it could take 3 years, it could take 5 years, but it's all about being patient and being disciplined to continue the journey, if you see what I mean. So, and that translates directly into business.
Yeah. So and actually, so my next question applies to both the business and to what you're doing around the sports as well. So what have you learned about yourself during the journey?
It's me. I've learned what I put my mind to, I can do. However big that may be, to be fair. And I'm very resilient, put it that way. Able to bounce back from any setbacks. And there was a quote. So the comeback will be bigger than the setback is a quote or will be better than the setback is a quote that I heard the other day, and I thought that was really good. Yeah,
that's pretty good actually. Yeah. So what are your aspirations for Dufeu IT Solutions in the next 5 years?
Yeah, so we want to grow for certain. We've seen some good growth over the past few years. We've recently moved office into a really nice building, so it gives us room to grow. There's more capacity, plenty more bums on seats we can get in this building. Yeah. So it's going to be really targeting growth, but doing it in a way which offers value and help and support to local businesses. Cybersecurity is a massive thing for us right now. We want to be able to educate, offer value by educating, not necessarily in a full-on salesy kind of way, but more in a consultative way. And I feel by doing that, one, it's going to get our name and our brand out there a bit more. Yeah. And two, organically those sales should come.
So how big are you expecting the business to be in 5 years' time then? What's it?
5 years, I'm hoping we'll get to 4 million in turnover.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll double in size in the next 5 years is the plan. And again, yeah, mixture of services. I think it seems that on premise, like as in local hardware and software, is almost a thing of the past. It's getting there. It's not quite there. There's still, we have customers who run a hybrid model between equipment and infrastructure on site and in the cloud.
Yeah.
It's only going to go further and further to the cloud.
Yeah.
So those services generally are recurring income for us, recurring revenue based, rather than one-off project sales and things like that. So yeah, it'll be through kind of driving more of that. But in order to drive more of that, we need to start educating more and more people. The most secure way to look after the business, the most operationally efficient way to run the business using the IT systems.
Yeah. And actually, you're in IT, obviously, a very exciting place. It has been for years, but the rate of change is just enormous. So you just think you're settling down, and the next big thing comes along as well, doesn't it?
That's right, exactly. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10 at the moment, it's a next big threat. So yeah,
well, yeah, that's true as well.
Something else we need to kind of keep our eyes on.
Yeah. So, Greg, I mean, years ago, you made the big jump into starting your own business. What would you say to anyone thinking of going into business for themselves?
It's again, it probably falls along the lines of the discipline thing. A lot of people will be motivated to start their own business.
Yeah.
But motivation, in my opinion, will only get you so far. You can roll out of bed one day and be completely unmotivated. So you just need to be prepared for those days. And I always say motivation gets you started. Discipline will get you to where you need to be. So just be aware you're not always going to be as motivated and focused as the day you start your business. Things will change, but you really need to be disciplined to get through those days.
Yeah, be ready for the roller coaster.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. This should be quite an interesting question for you. So who is the first person that comes to mind when you think about success?
Okay, so this is an interesting one. And this person probably comes to mind more so at the moment because I'm on the third. It's the third time I will have been listening to their audio autobiography. So it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So obviously the fitness background, the business background, he's got the entertainment side of it as well. But he grew up in Austria, as everyone's probably well aware. A small mountain town, so that resonates with me. He joined the army. That doesn't resonate with me. I've never joined the army, but he joined the army because he wasn't sure what he wanted to do, and then he found his passion in bodybuilding. And that sparked something in him. He wanted to move to America. He followed his passion to America. Obviously, he's probably most well known for being one of the top bodybuilders ever.
Yeah.
He did that. He also owned a construction company. So for who's not listened to that, he owned his own construction company with a friend of his. And then he wanted to transition into entertainment, so he did that. And then he transitioned into obviously he was a governor of California. So so he transitioned into politics. So not something I want to do, admittedly, transition into politics, but I just admire that, and I think that's he's had a number of successes along the way. He's had a number of failures, of course. But he's had a number of successes. So.
What do you think it is about Arnold Schwarzenegger then because let's face it, his achievements are astonishing. So what is it about Arnold Schwarzenegger who gets him to be able to reach those great heights and do it repeatedly?
Again, it's discipline. I think discipline and just having that focus. He knows what he wants, and he'd probably stop at nothing to get it. If you see what I mean. So he's just very focused, very motivated. Very not every day, but very, very disciplined.
And actually, the quote that always sticks with me from Arnold Schwarzenegger was that when he talked about anything that he's done, whether it's the when it I thought Mr. Universal, and then moving on to the movies, and then becoming governor of California, he always said there was never a plan B. That is what I was doing.
Yes, yeah, that's it. Yeah,
So, yeah.
So focused. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Greg, it's been great talking to you today. Thank you for your time. If anyone wants to contact you at Dufeu IT Solutions, what do they need to do?
So you can find me on LinkedIn. Obviously, search my my name. My email address is greg@dufeu-it.co.uk. So you can find me there as well. Website dufeu-it.co.uk. Pick up the phone to me. More than willing to have a chat. More than willing just to give any free advice on cybersecurity. We've got a team of great guys here, all with different skill sets and years of expertise. So yeah, we're more than willing to help out.
Cool, excellent. Greg Dufeu, Managing Director, Dufeu IT Solutions. Thank you for your time today. It's been great talking.
Thank you.